So let's construct the walls. First of all, take the wall kits from the lander and move back to the site. With them in your hand, right click to place. Make sure that they are set to iron window. If they are not, you can use the mouse wheel to scroll through multiple different types until you get to iron window, and place them as I am here. So they should be highlighted in green, and they should be, if you look here, on the inside of this frame. They can also be placed on the outside of the next frame out and will be airtight. But when you're building your first base, I recommend putting them on the inside of these frames, because you don't yet know what you'll need to build in the next frame across, and you don't want to obstruct something and have to remove these walls later. So place 2 along each of these sides, use delete to rotate, and then place 3 along the back wall here. 2, 3. When you've done that, press the home key, which will rotate it up, and place 1 over each of the 6 squares bounded by what you've just placed externally, and place 1 above this other solid frame here. Press Q to quickly drop those, or you can stow them on the lander if you wish. Press E to switch to the iron frames and point at the walls. You'll see that goes yellow. Hold down to construct those walls, and you'll see that they bulk out and bolts appear. We need to do that on all of the walls that we have placed. And do a quick visual double check. And I recommend you leave these iron sheets close to here, because you are going to need them again very soon. Even if you're playing on a planet with storms, there's usually a little bit of time before the first storm arrives, but if you're concerned, you can restow them. Pick up the glass sheets, also from the same construction crate, return to the site, and repeat the same exercise you did with the iron sheets of just point at the window and hold down the left mouse button. You'll see as the windows are glazed, lines appear across them, which makes it visually a lot easier to see. That was not the case in some early releases, and it was very difficult to tell whether or not you'd actually put glass in the window. That said, you do need to be a bit careful, because it's easy to miss and think that you've done all of them and you've actually missed one out. So try to keep a bit of a mental log of which ones you've filled in, and be a bit systematic about the way that you do each area. As a double check at this point, you can count off the panels and make sure you've used the right number. So we have 2 on each side, that's 4. We have 6 on the top, that's 10. We also then have 3 on the back and 1 up here, so that's 14 in total. So you should have 36, as I have got glass sheets left over. Next, pick up these frames, place an empty frame each side of that middle row. Again, you might want to keep the frames close at hand for working on later. So you can start to see this area is now enclosed, this area is partially enclosed, and is going to be where our airlock will be. We're going to close in one of the frames now. So again, pick up the welder and the sheets, right click to turn the welder on. We're going to enclose this frame completely. We're going to enclose this frame partially so that we can build on it. I'm going to leave that frame slightly open initially so that it's easier if we need to route any cables through, we can actually see whether or not we need to do it. We'll obviously need to open the frame to do that, and in that case we can use the wrench and deconstruct it, and that will allow us to move through. Similarly, we can use the wrench to deconstruct twice on this one if we need to. Again, double tap F to replace it on the belt. Remember to turn the welder off after every use. You can see the particle effects here of the air moving. It can be deceptive. This looks like there's a hole and they're escaping through here. They're actually not. That is something just to watch out for. So what we've constructed here is the basic frame for our greenhouse and our base. and we are going to construct the airlock in this cell here, and we're going to place the power and the machinery outside here.